see. Here we go. Yeah, and Cecil tells me that I'm a special interest and that not enough people participate in their government. And I think he's probably right in all of those things. And I wanted to just put together, briefly, I put together a few slides and stuff about public participation in advisory boards and my personal experiences. So, many advisory committees that impact the Estero Bay have numerous vacant seats. I asked for the list and I got told no a couple times. My philosophy is no is only an answer if you choose to accept it. And so I kept asking and I did get the list. And it was really kind of sobering. I'm going to highlight some of those absences here. So I do contend that the way to help make change is to work through our government structure that's in place. So the first one that I want to mention, Clara Ann mentioned it, you've seen it here today, the reason for these Cela Tegas is because of the Estero Bay Agency on Bay Management, Jim Beaver's State of the Bay. Many of the things that I think have really helped keep the Estero Bay a desirable and good place to live is because of the Estero Bay Agency on Bay Management. It was founded as the settlement that Clara was talking about, and our goal is to collect and maintain data and make, again, advice, provide comment to the Regional Planning Council, diverse membership. And so here's just a few of the things. So I've been a member since 2003, and several of the speakers that you've seen here today have also been longstanding members. So these are the CelaTega conference series. We started in 2008 with land management, then land acquisition. We had a public watershed symposium in 2009. Conservation lands economic value in 2011, which was really effective, and a lot of that information is still being used so that people, money talks, and it's very clear that our conservation lands have great monetary value as well. And then in 2016, we did our resiliency and adaptation in the Estero Bay region, and then this is our fifth for this Estero Bay is in trouble and what we can do about it. All of these are on the web page from the CelaTega2020. If you just keep scrolling down, you will see all of the presentations that were given at every one of these conferences, and we'll have quite a bit of data and information that you can use as you petition your elected officials and other people in power. So another one that's obviously important is the Lee County MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization. So you see their mission there. So this is one of my other personal plugs. We know that good transit is needed. Let's see. It will reduce the need for expansion and building of new roads. Roads lead to development, which leads to loss of open land. So I've been speaking to the Lee MPO for a number of years because a colleague of mine named Tom Cannell, who used to be a driver for Lee Tran, he saw the people that he was dropping off at the bus stop missing the bus connection by 5 or 10 minutes. And he said, there's got to be a better way. And so even though he didn't get the job that he was encouraged to apply for at Lee Tran, he has gone on to develop a very extensive, comprehensive reworking of the Lee Tran system so that people can get across county to the beach, right now I think it takes about an hour and a half to get to the airport from FGCU. So it's called a better Lee Tran, and I am advocating for that, and I will continue to. And that has a Citizens Advisory Committee, so it's a CAC, okay? And the Citizen Advisory Committee right now has 7 open positions. Surprisingly, the Villages of Estero's position is open. Cape Coral has 2 positions open. The appointees for Commissioner Manning and Happen are open. This is the web page that you can go to find all this information on if you have to do it organization by organization. And so if you go to that one, you'll see the BPAC. So this is the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee. So I spent a couple years going to the CAC of the MPO and the TAC of the MPO for the Lee Tran, and I said, okay, now what can I try? And so I joined the BPAC about a year and a half ago. So I'm I'm still working on that Lee-Tran thing. And then the LPA is an incredibly, at one time, I guess it still is, a pretty powerful group. And they look at comprehensive planning and make recommendations to the hearing officer, and then those recommendations get passed on to the county commissioners who make their decisions. So at one time, we had members from the Conservancy and other conservation organizations that were very active and well respected and putting forth decisions that were being used in ways that I believe have helped keep the Estero Bay healthy as it can be. And right now, it appears that Commissioner Hammond's appointee position is still open. So I'm saying all this in the hopes that people here or people that know somebody will step up and you know, participate in our government. ClassAC. This is the group that makes the recommendations for the Conservation 2020 parcels. Again, these are appointees, and it matters who gets on these advisory committees. Okay, so these are the ones that review the parcels for 2020. Right now, it looks like Commissioner Manning's seat is open. So there was a little bit of confusion on Rayanne Wessel's seat on the Sanibel Captiva Conservation Foundation. I don't think it was intentional in any way, because something similar happened to a committee that I'm on. It comes down to individuals. You know, the person that does the paperwork, apparently, I don't know if they were ill or, you know, had to step away. So always presume good intentions, right? So then there's a couple others that I was really surprised about. I didn't know what they were, but when I got my list and was looking through them, it was like, wow. So this sounds important, right? Disaster Advisory Council, responsible for pre-disaster planning and post-disaster recommendations. Formed in 1990. It's like, yeah, you'd think we'd want that going on. Right now, there's 13 open seats. We don't have the city of Bonita Springs participating, Cape Coral, Fort Myers. We don't have the EEO. We don't have Public Works, Solid Waste, the sheriff, the Water Management District, the Regional Planning Council, the Health Department. Okay, so the paperwork's wrong. Oh, they don't call meetings. Yeah, and again, I asked for some clarification beforehand because, of course, I'm doing this at the last minute too. Great, so they're short on members and they don't have meetings. So, do you see something you need to talk to your elected officials about? What happens in 2 weeks? You retire. Yeah, but you're leaving us with the mess, Jim. So we got 2 weeks to get a meeting to have you at it? Yeah, it's probably sitting on the shelf with the Clarianne's. Yeah, but the thing is, it's our government. This is our world. And unless we stand up and take responsibility and keep using our voice in every and any mechanism that we have to do so, just like Maggie said, it's, you know, it's fleeting. We're not going to keep it. Human Services Council. Jim, maybe you can tell me why this one hasn't been meeting.
They don't hear about being volunteers.
So again, oh, actually this is the wrong purpose. And I thought I replaced it, but I made a mistake. But yeah, it's Human Services, and that's like taking care of humans. And you would want to take care of the humans that you share the planet with. And so right now there's at least 16 open seats, and I have no idea if they're meeting, but you know, I think we should ask to get on that committee and you know, get it doing its job. Parks and Rec, only one open seat, so that's good. Partnering for Results, Proposal Review Panel. So this is reviews nonprofit organizations seeking funding from the Partnering for Results. And it turns out that Manning's appointee is open, and I was able to call the county and find out if this was still a thing, and if we were still actually funding money to NGOs. And, oops, what happened? Yeah, so I talked to the woman who's also about to retire, And she said that Lee County is currently putting together about $4 million a year that they are distributing still to 501c3s and other human service groups in Lee County. So again, it's a good one, and maybe if we keep saying we like this, maybe we can put more money into that pot of money. 2 to 3 seats open per district. 5 districts. 2 to 3 seats open per district. Every one of you, I assume, lives in one of those districts. Yeah, there's a lot of people not there. There's a lot of people not participating. Restore Act. So BP oil disaster, it was not a spill, it was a disaster. And billions of dollars are now having to be reallocated. CHNEP is playing a very big role in this, as well as a number of other groups. But, oops, where'd it go? Uh-oh, this would not be good. There it is. There's 11 members. And City of Bonita Springs and Villages of Estero has no appointees. This is according to my information that obviously is wrong and probably outdated, but it's the best I got, and I think the message is clear anyway. So, and I'll continue. MSTBUs and MSTUs. So the difference between an MSTBU and an MSTU is a TBU is non-ad valorem taxes, so a price that you pay not based on the value of your home. An MSTU, Metropolitan Services Taxing Unit, is ad valorem based on the property value. So most of these are created by a group of like-minded people in a community coming together and say, hey, we're willing to pay more ourselves for these services, okay? And so there's 28 of these that exist in Lee County, and one man, Lori Borman did it for a number of years, and she retired recently, and now Tim Gard is the MSTBU coordinator for the entire county. And I interact with him on at least 2 or 3 of these. So it turns out that if you're an unincorporated Lee County and you want to do some sort of improvement like this, you petition the board. But in order to petition the board to ask for that, you need 50% plus 1 of the homeowners in that location. So I live in San Carlos Park, and the San Carlos Park Special Improvement District was formed in 1989. They wanted the roads paved in San Carlos Park, and they wanted streetlights. And so they were able to get 50 plus 1 of the people that lived in San Carlos Park, which was not nearly as many as live there now. And so they got this MSTU, and it has somewhat a much broader statement for ability to do things than some of the other ones. A lot of them just do streetlights, so we had not only streetlights, but maintenance of the arches on 21 there, on 41, horticulture, so we've done some landscaping, law enforcement, and other civic improvements. So I did that. A lot easier to get 50% then. So some of the things that I think I joined it in 2013 and have been able to reinvigorate it. We've got a pretty active board, and we've done some pretty great stuff, in my opinion. So we have the arch has been painted over on 41 a couple times. It also seems to be a magnet for automobiles. So we have to have enough money to keep fixing it if we don't catch the people that hit it, so that they can rebuild it. We also have hired additional sheriff's patrol because the sheriffs have a lot to do, and if we pay them more, they will come police our community more. So we've just started that a few months ago. And then street lights by school buses. So one young girl died in San Carlos Park a number of years ago, and then you all know that a couple other people have died in Cape Coral and elsewhere. And so right after that happened, I asked Tim, I said, can you tell me where our street lights are in comparison to the bus stops? And so, everybody that I've ever worked with in the county that is staff that works is amazing and wonderful and very helpful. And so Tim took the information, went to the Department of Transportation, got a map. My slides messed up, so they're not, I had them, but they're not here, and has identified a half a dozen locations in San Carlos Park that we've now asked FP&L, how much will it cost to get us a street light there that we will pay the electricity for, so that the children in our community can be at least a little bit safer. And then also, there's a lot of people in San Carlos Park, almost 25,000 people in that 2.5 square miles. And a lot of us like to walk, you know, around the golf course, on the streets. And I'm on the BPAC now, so I get to go to the BPAC and say, hey, what about us? And work through the process for years and years and years. Okay, so the other one, I'll stop, I think this is my last, well, my slides got out of order. So the East Mulac Water Control District used to be the East Mulac Drainage District. I presented on this yesterday. There was a poster out there earlier. It's non-ad valorem, so it started out in 1963, $15 an acre. We're on a quarter-acre lot. In 1980, it went up to $30, so I pay $7 a year to take care of 21 miles of canals in San Carlos Park. Not working, 50 years of not working. I started petitioning my county commissioners probably about 2004 to try to get the price changed, tried to get, it had to be done at the state level, try again. Jim's persistence of vision is absolutely something, you know, what I've been doing is nothing compared to what Jim has able to achieve. But then Representative Rodriguez was, again, in my district. He lives in the park, so I started petitioning him to say, can we change the law, you know, so that I can pay more taxes, so that I can get my drainage district cleaned up. And I tried, and we got close, and it got vetoed, and then Hurricane Irma helped. Because after 2017, Governor Scott finally signed that over. And it became a dependent district of the county just last year. And so as a result of that restructuring, it's now called the East Mulac Water Control District. And instead of paying $7 per lot per year, it's now a minimum of $40. So that means instead of bringing in $70,000 a year, we're going to bring in over $330,000 a year. And that's a good step on the way toward making my part of the contribution to the Estero Bay watershed hopefully a little bit better. There's a few of them that were very narrow focused. The street lighting district, there's about 5 of them. They only have very small responsibilities and only 1 member instead of 5. I'm not sure what all the reasons are. Part of it might be because of how narrow the focus is. Part of it might be because, just like my community of San Carlos Park, a lot of these people don't have the time or opportunity to sit on an advisory board. So that is probably, I went over time and Charlie should have used his hook. But yeah, that's my pitch to participate.